Lionel Messi is being extra harsh on his kids just to teach them a lesson. From the outside, you think Messi's kids must be incredibly lucky to have a dad like Leo, the greatest player in the world. But in reality, it's completely different. Recently, Messi revealed the real reason why he would never buy an iPhone for his kids, and it'll leave you stunned. For Lionel Messi, it's family first, because they mean the world to him. Messi's kids are the reason why he's still in the game, else he'd have retired early. Messi knows the pressures of being a dad are incredibly huge, but he's trying everything to be the best version of a dad to his kids. Even he knows how hard it is because his relationship with each one of his 3 kids is different.
Mateo, por ahí jugamos en casa y la última pateamos así, me decía, yo soy el Liverpool, que le ganó a ustedes, soy el Liverpool.
Tiago's the first out of the 3, and he's special. Tiago was born on November 2nd, 2010, and the circumstances surrounding his birth were so incredible that Messi had to hide it. At the time, Messi and his wife Antonella wanted to keep a private life away from the media, so they kept their relationship low-key and avoided places where they could be seen on multiple occasions. But in 2012, when Messi first got the news that he was going to be a dad for the first time, he just couldn't keep it in any longer, and in a friendly match versus Paraguay, with a ball tucked under his shirt and his thumb in his finger to celebrate, Messi was ready to announce to the entire world that he and his partner Antonella were expecting their first child together. Once Tiago was born, Messi soon knew that the kid would need a sibling to play with, and so 3 years later in 2015, on September 11th, Matteo Messi was born, and another 3 years later in 2018, Ciro Messi was born. Messi's 3 kids are his life, and now they're all growing up, it's becoming even more challenging trying to raise them. Being the firstborn, Tiago is generally quiet and doesn't talk much. According to Messi, he prefers to think before he speaks and likes to watch his actions before he says anything, and most times even acts like the professor in the family. For Matteo, however, it's a completely different case. Messi even describes his own kid as the son of a bitch.
Mateo?
Mateo, terrible, Mateo es personaje, la verdad que son muy diferentes uno con el otro. Tiago es un fenómeno más bueno y el otro todo lo contrario, un hijo de puta.
He gave birth to him. Mateo's a case. He's always trying to bag attention or getting his dad to react and do something stupid. And I bet that it's he that even put Leo up to the idea of getting each one of them iPhones. For Ciro, he's still young and doesn't know much, but according to their mum, Antonella, Ciro's beginning to take after Matteo, meaning there's 2 of them now. Good luck, Leo. But really, guys, Messi loves his kids and would do anything for them, even if it means sacrificing his career just to make them happy. Last year, Messi was at the biggest crossroads of his career. He just won the World Cup with Argentina and the French League with PSG, but behind all of that, for the first time in his career, he wasn't happy, because he knew his kids were finding it hard to adjust. All his life, Messi had only ever played for Barcelona. That's the one place he'd known. Messi's 3 kids were born there and grew up in the city, but 2 years back in 2021, everything had to change, because unknown to Messi and his family, some dude had messed up the finances at the club and tampered with his family's future. In 2020, Messi did the unthinkable and asked to leave Barca after he noticed that something shady was going on with the club's finances. The club managed to convince him to stay, but with his contract running out the next year, everything looked like it would be set to renew and give him the lifetime contract that'll see him finish the career at Barcelona. Until the shocker came out that Messi's biggest fears from the year earlier had turned into reality. Barcelona had gone broke. Because of that, the club was unable to pay the player wages for the new season, and it became so bad that couldn't even register players. At first, the club promised Messi that they'd find a way to solve the situation, but in the end, they realized that the only way out of the situation was if they what everyone in world football thought was impossible and let Messi leave for free. Messi couldn't believe it. Even though this was all new to him, he didn't know how to break the news to his kids, because he knew that this was going to break their hearts. In the end, Messi packed his bags, tearfully said his goodbyes, and hopped on the plane to Paris. Over the next 2 years, even though he tried everything to make it feel like home, it just wasn't the same, and deep down, Messi knew he had to fix it before it became too much for his 3 sons to bear. After his 2 seasons at PSG, Messi had finally gotten to his crossroads. It was either he renewed his contract at Paris and tried to help them win the Champions League, or he went back to Barca and continued life with his family and kids from where he stopped. In the days that followed, it looked like Messi had already made his choice and was going to be heading back home to Barca, until a new option showed up out of nowhere that it changed his perspective about everything. Inter Miami. David Beckham's new club had been scouting Messi for years, and once they learned that Messi was on the market, they swooped in and gave Messi and his family a new perspective that was too attractive to resist. Life in America. Once Messi saw the sunny beaches and tasted that strawberry milkshake for the first time, there was no way he could say no. And days after, he was dressed in all pink and had just completed the move to Inter Miami. Life in Miami almost meant a new change of direction for its kids because unlike Paris, where they got a lot of unnecessary attention and bad press from French reporters, at Inter Miami life was easy and they could act like normal kids without anyone harassing them. Plus, they were growing up too, and I guess that freedom that started getting into their heads a little because now they thought they were old enough to get their own phones. See, now in the city of Miami, life was completely different to what it was in Paris and Barca for Thiago, Mateo, and even Ciro. In the US, kids their age mixed up a lot more and were very active on social media. I'm guessing they probably didn't feel it at first because they didn't start school early, but once they got registered and began mixing up, it became clear to them that social media was an active part of growing kids' lives. Ciro won't have been able to ask for one, and maybe Mateo too, but deep down Messi knew that if Thiago asked him for an iPhone, it'll be very hard to say no because of one special reason. Growing up, all Messi had ever wanted was family. Seems crazy now, but it's true, man. His biggest goal wasn't to win the Ballon d'Or or the World Cup. Messi wanted to subscribe to Mr. Football. Oh yeah, that, and he wanted to build a family too. Messi had grown up with his dad and mum, and seeing how they took care of him and his siblings, even though they didn't have much, it made him desperate to want something like that for himself when he was old enough. But he knew to build something like that, he won't be able to build it on his own. He needed the perfect woman, and lucky for him, he found her way earlier than he'd even expected. Messi never makes a decision without his wife, and that's just because, like his kids, she means the world to him. Messi and Antonella's story is unique. They were destined to be together from the beginning. Early on, Messi had a teammate back at Newell's old academy named Lucas Scaglia, and because of how close they were, he used to head over to Lucas's house to get him to come from training. Lucas and Messi developed a friendship back then that Messi didn't know would make them close for life. One day, Messi came to call Lucas for training as usual and knocked on the door, but the person who came to open the door left him weak to the knees. Even though they were still only kids back then, Messi was surprised by just how pretty Antonella was. So he started talking to her and looking for excuses to pull up to Lucas's house, just so he could spend more time with Antonella. And very soon, young Leo had fallen in love. Their young relationship hit a rocky path when Messi moved to Barcelona to get growth hormone surgery, and Antonella had to remain back in Argentina, and they moved on. But after one tragic accident that made Antonella lose her best friend, Messi came back for her and brought her to come live with him in Spain, and they've been together ever since. Messi and Antonella got married in 2017 and have remained one of the most powerful couples in the world. Part of the reasons Messi and Antonella have remained this tight is because they make decisions together, and when they realized their son Thiago might be onto them about getting a new phone, they came together and took a final stance on the whole thing. In October, Apple launched the release of the brand new iPhone 15 series, and because it wanted all the star power to help with the sales, Messi and his entire family were all at the presentation ceremony in Miami. It was more than just showing up to promote a new phone brand for Messi, it was also business. See, unknown to most people, in Messi's contract with Inter Miami, he also got a clause that gives him a direct share into Apple's company, meaning technically Messi's a part owner of the Apple series. I won't lie, if I'm Thiago, I'm playing my cards nicely, man. Dad's as rich as Messi is, and he owns a direct share in the company. But here's the crazy thing, Messi wasn't prepared to make it that easy for him. Growing up, technology was still in the developing stages for Messi, so he didn't have to deal with the pressure of growing up and turning into a teen. But for his kids, Messi knew this was different. Now kids Thiago's age needed to advance with the latest trends, else they'd be left behind. Messi and Antonella seemed to be at a crossroads regarding this one, like they didn't know how they'd been able to handle this one until they got a genius idea to steal a page off Messi's direct rival, Cristiano Ronaldo. Since the turn of the century, Messi and Ronaldo have dominated the game and taken football to crazy heights, man, and contrary to what most people think, they actually are very cool with each other. When it comes to parenting and taking care of his kids, Ronaldo's made it very clear what his style is, teaching his kids the importance of mixing up and finding the right people to make friends with in person, instead of relying on social media. In an exclusive interview a couple of years back, Ronaldo revealed that his son Junior had asked him for an iPhone because he saw other kids his age copying stopping them, and his response was a solid no. When Messi and Antonella saw this, it was problem solved. They found a way to deal with the problem that could possibly arise if Thiago wanted to ask them for an iPhone in the coming weeks, but simply copying what Ronaldo did. But there was just one problem with this problem. Thiago wasn't your average kid. The boy's a genius. He hardly talks because he's super smart and keeps his words to himself. So using the same method Ronaldo used for his kid on him wasn't guaranteed to work. With this in mind, Messi knew he needed to have a backup plan just in case, and lucky for him, that's where education comes in. Unlike Spain and Paris, the educational system was different in the US, meaning for Thiago and his brothers, after school, instead of heading home to chill with their dad like they usually would, they got swamped with schoolwork. For Thiago, now that he decided to follow his dad's footstep and go after a pro career, it meant that after school he was training with the academy team, and after that had to come home, do his homework, go to bed and repeat the cycle again. Like that, Messi realized that he probably won't need to use Ronaldo's method of dealing with his own kid because education had taken care of that for him. To be fair, I don't think the idea of letting a kid Thiago's age use a phone that expensive would have made sense anyway, but lucky for Messi, he doesn't have to worry about that problem. But it still doesn't mean his other kids won't ask, because his other kid Matteo did. Matteo is always on his dad's case. I know he did this just to test his dad's reaction, and I'm pretty sure it would have been easy to guess Messi's response to Matteo's response, a solid no. Messi and Matteo have history, and anyone who knows this also knows you'd be doing the world, and Messi's contact list a lot of good if you don't allow Matteo near your phone yet. Back when he just got to PSG, Messi had one of his close friends, Ibai Llanos, over for dinner in his new residence, and to entertain his guest and make him feel at home like they did back in Spain, Messi had a Spanish-themed dinner and had the special dish tequenos on the menu, and Ibai must have really loved them because they finished as soon as they were brought out. Matteo was really pissed about this and knew the main reason they finished that quickly was because of his dad's new guest, Ibai. So on his way home, Matteo made sure to leave a special voice note for Ibai to tell him what he really thought about what happened. Don't come back again, stupid. Ouch! Now imagine giving him a phone of his own. He'd probably send the president of Argentina a text asking him to replace the national police with Paw Patrol. Matteo's a proper case, and this incident is just one of the many times he's shocked the world. And I could tell you many more just like this if you click the next video to see the 7 times Matteo Messi shocked the world.